It started, I think, when they became smartphones.
Well, it's the internet.
Yeah.
It wasn't, when you had your phone, it was to pick up, it was to make a call.
Right.
It wasn't even to pick up email.
Right.
It was just to make a call.
Right.
The phone all by itself was never that interesting, all right? But once you incorporate the internet into it, now it's, you've got access to everything supposedly in the world, especially social media. I think that was the biggest, that's the single biggest draw. I mean, we're on social media right now, right?
Right. But on a phone, when you had just a flip phone, and you made a call, you were actually making a connection to someone.
Right. And could you make a text in those days? No.
Not right away.
Yeah. So my opinion, here's what my observation is with this, is as people have had the ability to kind of isolate themselves, like people, when they go home, they just don't want it to be bothered. They don't want anybody bugging them. They like living alone, stuff like that. They're isolated. They like being separate from everybody. They just don't want to be bothered. So when they're on their phone, let's say you're out with your girlfriends, okay, or friends, or you're over at your family's house or whatever. If you're with them and you're down and you're doing this, you either didn't finish your work before you left work, or you're bored with these guys, like you really would rather be somewhere else because you are somewhere else. You're not connected. That's what the guides mean. You're not connected to what's going on in the moment right there physically in your world. You're somewhere else. You're in some other part of the world doing this, off doing this other stuff. So anybody who walking around looking down. So anybody who does that walks around looking down. They're with you. You went out to eat or whatever, and they're doing this. Man, those people they have a problem. I mean, if you actually went there to be with your friend and find out what's going on, they're not present. And it's really annoying. Even if you don't even know who they are, if you're at the gym and you've got all these people talking on their phone, I mean, they're somewhere else. Why do they come to the gym? Why bother? Or you're trying to get on another machine and you're in a hurry. I mean, you ran from work, they're at the gym, you want to get fit, you're really committed, and they're sitting on all the machines looking at their phone. We run into it every day.
They're updating their Facebook page with selfies of their abs.
And stuff like that. Ray tells me the strangest things about the men's locker room, you guys. We're not going to talk about it, but it's very odd. You won't believe what those guys do in there.
Well, they stand in front of the mirror and do their poses and post it to their Instagram page. Or send it to their girlfriends. I don't know.
Oh,
but there's signs all over the locker room.
don't do that.
There's signs all over the locker room that say, no cell phone usage allowed in the locker room.
It's crazy. So that's really people have gone mad with this disconnection. Why is it that this is happening? Why is it everybody needs to be stimulated? That's really what it is. They need stimulation all the time. Every moment that they wake up, like from in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, they've got to be fed that stimulation. It's really, the whole point to making a connection to your guidance and being able to actually communicate with them like we do is to give that a break. Let that rest. And then in that quiet contemplation, just that quiet place where you can actually breathe like we did before we started, breathe and make that connection to your guides, then you're really connected. Then you get information. Let's say you're walking down the street and you take that bloody phone, you put it in your pocket, and you just, put it where it belongs. And you start walking around, you start noticing things. Whoa, I didn't notice that before. Or your guides will use whatever it takes to get your attention, to send you signs and signals, to have someone walk up to you and say something to you that the guidance has been trying to say to you, right? They'll use, we call them agents for guidance, all right? They're sent in just for a moment. They say something to you and off they go. You'll never meet them again, never see them again. Those are agents for guidance. It goes on all the time. But if you're doing this, and this is what you're doing, and you're walking around and you're looking, you're missing it. I mean, there's that person that would have otherwise walked up to you, that agent for the guides, what they use, the signs the guides put in front of you. Pay attention. Look at this. This is what's keep you focused, keep you on track, keep you true north, keep you on your path. They can't reach you because you are somewhere else. You are so invested in walking around, looking down, doing that you can't be reached. All right. So in my case, I will say this. In my case, in my book Guided, part 4, when I first met Ray, and I wasn't, he was married. I wasn't going to go with a married guy.
Oh, that was a minor inconvenience.
Yeah, and I told him that was my number 1 rule. And the guides came through. I was on my cell phone talking to a friend of mine walking around the front driveway of my house. And they came through. They interrupted my phone call with my friend, like the old party lines, and said, "Lose your rules. He's the one." All right. Now, they really, what did you do?
Yes.
See, he still loves me. What they'll do, you guys, if they really need to reach you, they will break through that call. They will find a way to, and notice it if it happens, because they use electronic devices to reach you. They're very good at that. So, keep that in mind. They will use it, but most of the time, if this is what we're doing, we're missing it. What's going on around us. It's delusional. It's like, the last thing we want in order to connect with guidance is to see what is, not to live in a delusional world, but to live in a sober world, a world where you see what's going on and you can handle it. All right. So that's where the guides need you to be. And I don't mean that it shouldn't be so boring. That if you do have this connection, if you're not just here in this world, and you actually are functioning from where you came from and the guidance that's always with you, and you start working these together, you won't be so inclined to just be overweighted in walking around looking down. You won't. You will have this loving support that's always with you, that you love when the guidance comes through, or when you're working on a project, working at your job, or whatever you're doing with your kids, whatever. And what's the perfect thing to do at that moment? Just smoothly and easily comes through, because you are connected. You're not connected like this. Even your kids wouldn't like that. If here they are playing with their toys and you're sitting there going, they know you're not present. They know that you'd rather be somewhere else than to be with them. And what do they learn? They learn what you're showing them. They learn by example.
They learn how to hide behind something.
They do. They learn how not to communicate. Because anybody doing this, even though, well, I'm communicating, I'm texting. No, you're not. No. You can't believe how many people, how many people that I've coached that they absolutely do not understand what's wrong with their relationship. And then they go, well, I text her, Linda. I went ahead and I texted her this morning, and then I texted her this afternoon at lunchtime. And I asked this guy, I said, I'm going to ask you a really funny question, because this guy just lives on his phone, right? When are you going to call her? He goes, call her? I said, yeah. When are you going to call her? He goes, well, she sends me these little emojis, and it's really fun. I said, no, I'm talking about a relationship. I'm not talking about, playing around with emojis. Do you really want this person in your life? Yes, I do. Then call her. And then he started getting scared. So here's a guy, has everything going for him, and he will not make that phone call. Because he knows something's wrong. He's not really willing to look at it yet, because it's so convenient just to do a text. And I guess it's like a titillation. It's kind of more fun. It's more sexy or something for him, because he still gets his life back. He can go out. Now, she is a vegetarian. He can go out and have a steak tonight. Still have her to text. In fact, while he's eating the steak, and he's talking to us on the phone, all right, he is texting her. Okay, so it really is hiding, like Ray said. It's serious hiding, and kidding yourself.
It's an addiction that people can't break
Right.
because pretty much, if you're in a big city like here in Phoenix, you're pretty much connected everywhere you go. I don't care. You go to the grocery store, you go to the coffee shop, you go at a restaurant, you're connected. And free Wi-Fi is not a big draw anymore because everybody has it.
Right.
It used to be a big draw. Well, we go here because they have Wi-Fi. But it's become so ingrained into society. It's become such a terrible addiction, just like alcohol addiction or drug addiction, that there is a name for it now. It's called nomophobia. Nomophobia.
Nomophobia.
Right, and it's considered a mental disorder, just like panic attacks and anxiety.
Like a nervous disorder.
Right.
Make the true connection. Raise your energy. Breathe and raise it, and make the real connection. All right, because this is it doesn't get better. It gets worse. Right, Ray?
It does get worse. And then you have to buy a better phone so you can do
more.
2 or 3 things at once.
I know.
So it doesn't seem like it's getting better. I mean, everybody's walking around looking down. It's a social epidemic.
It is.
What?
Okay, so how do you gain mastery over yourself again? How do you break that?
I knew you would say it better than I did.
Okay, how do you gain mastery over it?
Right.
Okay, you start breathing. It's so. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? It's true. You have to start breathing. All of this is because of anxiety that draws us more, deeper, more intense into that device. Okay, disappointments, all kinds of stuff in the world makes you draw in. And now, when you draw in and you have this device, you don't feel alone. That's why people do it. They feel so lonely in this world, so out to sea without a paddle, so lost. This makes them feel like they belong. It's superficial. It's fast. You got to be faster than the other guy. To get the attention, to stay connected to whatever it is. Okay, you stop breathing. You hold your breath. It just all piles up on you. All right, and that's what's really going on. It's the ultimate disconnection.
Well, physically, when you see somebody hunched over their phone doing this, they can't breathe. They're taking real short breaths.
Now, Ray, you can't see what Ray's doing, but he's going like this. And see how you're bent over? You've cut your windpipe off. You can't breathe, all right? And you can't let it in, all right? So it all comes from here. This is your power center. It comes from your core. As you breathe, you raise your energy and you make this connection. That's the key.
Sometime in the future, you're going to...
And you guys, you're never alone, all right? So when you feel like you are, when you feel like this world is working against you, sit up straight. Breathe. Breathe. If you have to breathe, like hyperventilate, breathe. Start breathing. Drink water. Drink some water. Do basic stuff, just regular stuff, all right? And put that phone down.
Well, it forces you to stand up, take a deep breath.
It does.
And now you're looking straight ahead.
Or up.
Or up.
Yeah, that's right. You know how they always said, walk with your chin up, be proud, be in your power. This is the last thing that you are when you're doing this. You're not in your power at all. You're disconnected. You feel alone. You keep reaching for more. Okay, that's why people reach for more. They feel in this world they truly are disconnected. They've cut their friends off. They cut their family, their kids. They cut everybody off. Everyone at work. They're just shut down. This is all they do. And that's the problem.